Okay, we had a little technical glitch, so we're back now, and so we have Leslie Hubbard from Girls Inc. to do a presentation for us. Go ahead, Leslie.
Hi there. Thank you for having me. So I am Leslie. I'm the Executive Director with Girls Inc. Girls Inc. is a group program for girls between the ages of 6 and 18, and we exist to address societal barriers and gender inequities that face girls and women on a daily basis. So our programming is research-based, hands-on programming. We aim to provide a safe, girls-only environment and trusted mentoring adults. And sort of that trifecta forms the Girls Inc. difference, or the Girls Inc. Promise that helps girls to achieve independence, academic success, and healthy lives and futures. So the request tonight is asking you to proclaim October the 11th as International Day of the Girl, or as Day of the Girl. So International Day of the Girl is a global movement. It began in 2012, and Canada was a leading player in initiating that with the UN. And really it's a day about putting girls at the forefront and celebrating their successes and also their potential. So we have sent out requests to all of the municipalities in Leeds-Granville. That's the area that we service, and we're asking that that you proclaim the day as International Day of the Girl, or as Day of the Girl. So International Day of the Girl is
Any questions, council colleagues?
began in 2012, and Canada
No.
was a leading player in initiating that.
I'm
I do
sorry,
have sample proclamation
Okay.
with me. I can leave that.
Sure, yeah.
Celebrating their successes, and thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you very much for coming out, Leslie. I'm sorry Nancy wasn't here because I'm sure she'd be asking you a ton of questions that I don't know. But anyways, I really appreciate what you're doing, and yeah, we'll actually we'll talk about that right now. Thank you. So, council colleagues, the motion is to be it resolved that council receive the presentation for International Day of the Girl and proclaim that October 11th, 2021 as International Day of the Girl in the municipality of North Granville. So I need a mover.
Thank you so much.
Councillor Strakajan, and we have one over here, Councillor Barclay. I have to go back and forth. And all in favor? Carried. But anyways, I really appreciate what you're doing, and yeah, we'll actually we'll talk about that right now. Thank you. So, council colleagues, the motion is be it resolved that council receive the presentation. Okay, next on the agenda we have Waste Reduction Week. Karen Dunlop, Director of Public Works, will be presenting. All in favor? Okay, next on the agenda.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So Waste Reduction Week is the presentation this evening, and for the past 3 years, the municipality has declared and participated in Waste Reduction Week as recognized by the Recycling Council of Ontario. North Granville is committed to reducing our waste, conserving resources, and educating our community about sustainable living. With the changes in the recycled material markets, our focus is on reducing and reusing. Throughout the week, the municipality will convey messages through social media of ways to reduce the amount of waste we produce and ways to reuse items. In addition, the Waste Reduction Week Canada website can provide residents information on waste reduction practices. We recommend continuing with the practice and to proclaim October 18th to 24th as Waste Reduction Week in North Granville. Our focus is on reducing and reusing. Throughout the week, the municipality will convey messages.
Okay, thank you very much. Council colleagues, are there any questions on this or comments?
Ways to reuse items. In addition, the Waste Reduction Week Canada website.
Councillor Strakajan? Councillor O'Sullivan, go ahead.
Thank you. I think this is a great idea, and I just would like to know, just for my own information as well as for the people who may be watching here, what has the reduction been since we implemented the new green bin program? Just for information sharing?
I can't give you the reduction off the top of my head in regards to how much waste we have reduced, but we have seen a dramatic increase in the use of the green bin. It will actually be presented at the next council meeting, the actual numbers, both tonnage and some financial. So we have seen, instead of seeing about a 20% uptake in the waste diverted through the green bin, but we've seen a 40%. So we're actually exceeding our year 2 expectations.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Councillor Strachan?
Thank you very much, Director Dunlop. Those numbers are definitely impressive. So I look forward to the rest of the report regarding the new waste management program. A question for you about promotion for Waste Reduction Week. Has this been planned out already as far as how you're going to promote that week? I know you said social media. I'm just wondering if there's if you have any more details on that.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, I do not at this time. I know that in years past, we have put out a daily message in regards to recommendations, how to reuse things, how to recycle things, how to redirect, just in your way of shopping. So this is the type of program that the communications officer will be placing every day in social media.
Okay, thank you.
Been planned out already?
Question, just a comment maybe, and actually Councillor Barclay could probably elaborate on this, but during our break we had just a quick talk about when you're going to be taking away large items this year. We're doing that for the first time. That's coming up, and you'll need a tag for that. Councillor Barclay suggested that we have the giveaway free stuff maybe promoted a week before that, but maybe also during this particular week if we had some promotion, because this is again another way to reduce is by giving away something rather than throwing it into the dump or the transfer station. Sorry. Anyways, so I don't know if you have some thoughts on that and how and when we promote this free, put items at the curb for free, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the idea came from Councillor Strachan actually, but developed by the rest of us before we went into open. And that would be, there used to be a curbside giveaway program. And so the first week of the bulky item pickup, we thought maybe if we could talk to communications about sending out some messages about curbside giveaway. The idea being if someone had an old couch or something and put it out at the end of their driveway for pickup, if it wasn't picked up, they could put on a couple of tags and have it picked up the next weekend. Might save them a trip to and from the garage. So just some thoughts on that, because it's just freshly minted idea here.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, the curbside giveaway weekend historically has been in June, but with the pandemic for the last couple of years, we have not participated in it. So absolutely, we can provide that social media messaging in regards to put something out on a dedicated day. If it goes away, it has useful life left for someone else, that's great. Otherwise, tag it for collection. Our next bulky item collection, I believe, is in November, again off the top of my head, and we will be promoting that at the same time. Weather at that time of year always comes into play.
Any more questions, council colleagues? No, thank you, Director Dunlop. So we have a motion here that be it resolved that council receive this presentation titled Waste Reduction Week and proclaim the week of October 18th to the 24th, 2021 inclusive as Waste Reduction Week in the municipality of North Granville. Can I have a mover for that? Councillor Strachan and Councillor O'Sullivan, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, we have another presentation. This is Fire Prevention Week. I hope we're not running out of weeks, but anyways, Chief Oakham will come down. You'll do your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Good evening to you and council. So the request this evening is to request council to consider proclaiming the week of Fire Prevention Week in North Granville. Fire Prevention Week is a national campaign that occurs during the first week of November each year. Fire Prevention Week started Sunday, October 3rd, and runs until Saturday, October 9th of this week. The theme for this year is Learn the Sounds of Fire Safety. The campaign is intended to bring awareness to the different sounds residential smoke and carbon monoxide alarms make. Many fire services across North America adopt the national campaign as part of their prevention and public education program. The National Fire Protection Association, known as the NFPA, who develops the annual campaign, noted, "This year's theme was developed due to the sound of alarms in the background of people's homes during remote learning and work." With Council recognizing Fire Prevention Week by means of a municipal proclamation helps to support the local public education program as well as promote the theme. The North Granville Fire Service is using this opportunity to help raise awareness in the community. This gets families talking about fire safety and increases the understanding what the different sounds of residential alarms make. It is important that you read manufacturer's instructions for your individual devices. They provide you with the vital information you need to know about your home's smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. That's my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Council colleagues, any questions? Councillor Strachan?
Thank you very much, Chief Oakham. To start off with, I want to congratulate on a very successful open house yesterday. I think that was a very well-attended event, and it was a lot of fun. I know my kids were talking about it on the ride home, so thank you very much for doing it, and please extend our thanks to the volunteers who are out. I think you pretty much had almost the entire force out helping out, and it was a very good showing, so thank you very much for that. Regarding smoke alarms, I think there was a question that came up not too long ago regarding how you can dispose of certain smoke alarms, because I believe some of them have radioactive material in them or hazardous material in them that wouldn't necessarily be appropriate for putting in garbage in your regular curbside pickup, and so there was some concern about how to properly dispose of them. So I'm wondering if, now that we're talking about fire prevention and smoke alarms, if you could elaborate on that or give us some tips.
Thank you for the question. So you're correct. There are different types of smoke alarms, and the one you're referring to is an ionization, which does have a very small amount of material in it that could be considered radioactive. We have done research in the past regarding these alarms and their proper disposal, and through our research we have been informed that if you have a residential alarm, it can be disposed of in regular household waste and poses no concern to the environment. Large quantities of alarms, if they were to be taken in by a company, they would be sent for recycling purposes. We have, the fire department has looked into opportunities to try and recycle these alarms, and there is a program. It's unfortunately the one that we found is through in the United States, not in Canada. So at this time, you know, we can collect smoke alarms, but we would be disposing of them as you would in normal household waste. And again, I have to note that we were informed that that does not pose an environmental risk.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification.
Councillor Barclay?
Yeah, I had a question about smoke alarms. Are there alternatives to smoke alarms? I'm thinking of people who heat with wood, and no matter how well maintained their flue is and their wood stove is, there's invariably some smoke. Are heat detectors something that can be installed?
Well, that's a really good question. There are different devices that are available in the market. First, I would have to qualify this by saying that smoke alarms are mandatory, so they are the law. So if you're looking for a substitute, that would be in contravention of the Ontario Building Code and the Ontario Fire Code. But as an additional alarm, you can acquire heat alarms. They would activate later in a fire because they obviously react to heat that's generated from a fire. So detecting smoke would be a lot quicker, and that's the intent of having working smoke alarms in your home, is to give you early warning detection for early evacuation purposes. There are other alarms that are available in the market. There are alarms that detect natural or propane gases if there were leaks. And then as well, carbon monoxide alarms, which we also are talking about Fire Prevention Week. They are also mandatory and are the law here in Ontario. And they do not detect smoke or a fire, for lack of better words, but it detects the carbon monoxide off-gassing of an improperly maintained appliance, such as a gas-powered, a gas-operated water heater or furnace, for example. So your smoke alarms are your primary alarm for your residential use, and carbon monoxide as well.
Council colleagues, anything else? No? Okay. Chief Holcomb, thank you for your report. Appreciate it. So Council, we be it resolved that Council receive the presentation titled Fire Prevention Week and to proclaim October 3rd to the 9th, 2021 inclusive as Fire Prevention Week in the Municipality of North Granville. So I need a mover. Councillor Barkley, Councillor Strakian is seconder, and all in favor? So passed. Thank you. Okay, next item we have is our consent agenda, and as been explained before, any member of council can remove an item from the consent agenda if they wish. Is there anybody who wishes to do that today? No? Okay, seeing none. Then be it resolved that council, the following consent agenda items be approved as presented. Council meeting minutes September 21st to 2021. See item number 1. Council meeting minutes September 27th, 2021. It's item number 2. Old Town Kenpo Improvement Area Minutes, the resolution. See item K1, which is 3.1. Old Town Kenpo Improvement Area Minutes 2020 or June 21st, 2021. And we have 3.2 here, which is the Old Town Kenpo BIA resolution set the date for the annual general meeting to be held virtually on November 22nd, 2021. So I'll need a mover for that. Councillor Barkley, and a seconder, Councillor O'Sullivan. And all in favor? And so moved. Thank you. Next we have reports, and I've got a report, the Office of the Chief Administration Officer, Mr. Gary Dyke.
Gilmore.
Mr. Gilmore.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm here tonight asking Council to approve the terms of reference for the Tourism Advisory Subcommittee. North Granville's tourism strategy was completed in 2020 and approved by Council on January 12th, 2021. On April 29th, 2021, Council approved the establishment of a Tourism Advisory Subcommittee under the Community and Economic Development Advisory Committee, better known as CEDAC. On September 2nd, 2021, CEDAC reviewed the draft terms of reference and recommended that they be approved by Council. The subcommittee shall be comprised of the following individuals with voting rights: a maximum of 5 and a minimum of 3 local tourism businesses, 1 member of Council, 1 member of the Community and Economic Development Advisory Committee, 1 member of the Old Town Kenpo Business Improvement Area Board of Management, and 1 member of the North Granville Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. Upon approval of the terms of reference, staff will solicit applications to fill the membership of the committee. The Tourism Subcommittee will play an important role as we continue with the implementation of our new tourism strategy. That concludes my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Council colleagues, any questions? No? Nothing over there? Good report. Thank you, Matt. For council, how are you going to do this selection committee for council? On one position on this particular committee?
I would refer to maybe the clerk's department for clarification on that.
We'll be looking to council through you, Deputy Mayor, with respect to a member from council to volunteer to sit on that position.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Council.
So we also have the,
I just have one question.
oh, Councilor Sullivan, go ahead, sorry.
Thank you. I just wondered, is there a staff member going to be part of this committee? Because other advisory committees have a municipal staff member on them, and I'm wondering if the tourism coordinator would be a person that would be included in this committee.
Yes, through you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you for the question, and yes, you are correct. Myself, the Economic Development Officer, and our Tourism Coordinator will both be attending the committee meetings.
Is there anything else, any other questions, council colleagues? No? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Gilmer. To the clerk's office, I'm just going to ask you about the first item there. How do I handle that?
So I would suggest, Deputy Mayor, that that you go through this particular motion with respect to the Tourism Subcommittee, and then we can come back to the Bill Fake Award nomination.
Okay, so be it resolved that council approve the terms of reference for the Tourism Advisory Subcommittee and direct staff to solicit applications for members of the Tourism Advisory Subcommittee. So I'll need a mover for that. Councillor Barkley, Councillor O'Sullivan, seconded. All in favor? So passed. Thank you. So am I adding the name?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So this first one, which Matt didn't speak of, we did speak in closed session because we are speaking about individuals. So be it resolved that council has decided that to nominate Kathy Shepherd for the 2021 United Counties of Leeds and Granville Bill Fake Memorial Award. So I'll need a mover for that. Councillor O'Sullivan, second by Councillor Barkley. All in favor? So moved. Thank you. Carried. Okay, so on the rest of my reports I have here, so finance, we have no report for finance, the Office of Clerk, none. Planning and Development, none, surprising. Public Works, we have a waste, talk about waste reduction, so the recommendation. Okay, so Director Dunlop will be doing a report for this. Thank you very much. So Director Dunlop, you're going to be speaking of the pilot program for the curbside collections of diapers and other miscellaneous items, right?
You are correct. Thank you,
you.
Deputy Mayor. So yes, I will be speaking to the Curbside Collection Pilot Program update. So in February, the municipality implemented a new waste management program with the introduction of curbside collection of the green bin and reduction of garbage collection every other week. Concern has been raised by some residents with the reduced collection of solid waste. It could create a disadvantage for items such as diapers, menstrual products, and incontinence products. Based on these concerns, on June 1st, Council directed the Public Works Department to implement a pilot program for a minimum of 90 days. The pilot program began July 5th for the months of July through October. Participants had to pre-register for the additional collection program and provide a double bag tag, or $5.50 per container, placed at curbside. It was estimated in the financial model for the program to meet the financial targets of 50% recovery that 62 pickups per week would be required. We had between 6 and 10 participants register weekly during the first 90 days. Not all registered participants placed a container at curbside each week. About 65% participation rate was achieved. The cost for the first 90 days of the pilot program was $6,480 plus tax, bringing in bag tag revenue of $962.50. The participation rate of the initial 90 days of the 120-day pilot program are significantly lower than required to make a long-term service viable, and the department recommends suspending the program. That completes my report.
Thank you, Director Dunlop. Is there any questions? Councillor Starkey?
Thank you very much, Director Dunlop. I guess 2 questions. One is, did you receive any other feedback from residents regarding the program on any aspect of how it was currently set up from the pilot's perspective? And the second question is, for where there was a need, clearly I think community living was one that you had pointed out, where there was definitely an express need for this service. Do we have any suggestions for alternatives for those individuals?
Through you, Deputy Mayor. The biggest complaint we received was price, that it was a double bag tag. Why? The other alternative was a self-haul to the transfer station. If you have a tagged waste, which is $2.75 per container, that is acceptable for that fee at the transfer station. So on the alternative week, when you don't have collection, a self-haul option is currently available. But you're right, North Granville Community Living was our largest client for this specific pilot.
Quick follow-up to that then. When the complaints or comments were received from residents, did you explain the option to go to the waste transfer station, and was that received as a viable option for them?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, yes, it was explained. It is... sometimes it was received as a viable option, and sometimes it was not. People feel that the service should be provided at the same value at $2.75 a container. But some people did take us up on the program of self-hauling to the transfer station. Not actually many people understand that if you take just a tagged container of waste, be it diapers or other products or regular household garbage as collectible under the program, the $2.75 at the gate stands, as long as you don't have any other items. Otherwise, the weighted values apply.
Thank you for clarifying that. I was going to mention that the education part regarding going to the waste transfer station, I think, is important as well. So, okay, thank you very much.
Director Dunlop, I have you mentioned the goal of a program like this. Now, this is unique. It's not your typical garbage, obviously, and it's a very small percentage of our population. And you are looking for a target of 50% recovery. And obviously, you received not even close to that. It's a fraction of a percent, I'm guessing. What do we receive with regular garbage collection then, when you talk about recovery? So this 50% for regular garbage, or I mean, actually regular garbage would be the only thing, because it's the only thing we actually charge for right now. So what does that number look like?
So the target that we were looking at for this specific pilot was 50% tax-based, 50% revenue-based. For our standard waste management program, I can't answer that, what the actual tax impact is off the top of my head, but when we bring back the waste management report in the verbal portion, I can make sure I can answer that question.
Okay, because I'm just thinking it's not, don't think it's 50%, is it?
It's under that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, if I could clarify, the tax impact
Yes.
is under that,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Another question? this program was 90 days, but is running to another 120 days, is that correct?
The dollar values that I provided were for the first 90 days of the 120. It is scheduled to run the month of October, pending the suspension of the program.
Now, are we reaching out to the residents that this program is ending? Like, are we doing any kind of communication piece to see, you know, we all know what a challenge it is to talk to our residents and let them know what's going on, and we've talked about that enough today. But, you know, would we potentially have an uptick if people really knew about this program? I'm just, that's what I'm wondering. I know, and I don't know if you've been, or how much the municipality's been promoting this along the way since first week of July, I guess, is when we started. And you had 6 people, 8 people, 6, and I think you finished up in September, the end of September is 8 and 10. So pretty low numbers, obviously. When I think we calculated, or I made some guess of how many, or I was only dealing with diapers, so baby-aged children who would be in diapers, well, I thought it was more like probably around 500, but maybe people are disposing of them differently. Anyways, okay, I'm just wondering though, are we doing any kind of promotion to see if this has any life towards the end of October?
So the communication program that we started prior to the July 5th start date, we did a press release, social media. Also, the people that had called in with the concerns, we reached out to those. So the Public Works clerk called the people individually. Also, some of the residents associations that had expressed an interest in this type of a program, we reached out to them and they spread the word. When we went month to month, if we had people that were registering for July, for August, but we hadn't heard from them in September, the Public Works clerk actually called them to say, do you want to participate or not? So we were reaching out the one-on-one through social media as well as the press releases.
Okay, and in these numbers, you mentioned community living was one of the largest users of this. Would they be counted as one, or are we counting them as so many individuals from that community?
Each of their homes that participated would be counted as one. But I know that although they registered with the program, they didn't always put out a container each. And I know that because I live across the street from one that does participate in an irregular fashion.
Okay, so when we're talking 8 people participating in 1 week, half of those or more could be community living by themselves.
I would say we had 3 of the community living housing
3, okay.
participate. That doesn't mean they only put out 1 container. Different weeks they put out multiple containers. I believe in the written portion of the report, it identified that they had up to so many containers out.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Barclay?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Director Dunlop and Public Works staff for taking this project on. We didn't know where we'd end up, but we thought we'd give it a shot. I think I'm surprised at the low numbers as well, and the feedback that 2 tags was too much. So thank you for taking it on, and I think it's a very, very successful pilot in the sense that we really tested the appetite for this kind of service. And maybe the timing is not quite right when we get bigger and younger families moving in. We might be in the market for this kind of program again. But thanks for taking it on.
Yes, Director Dunlop, thank you for doing this and your staff. But again, just to echo what Councillor Barclay said, yeah, it was a good test pilot project, and I think it was also it's an important, responsible way to for the taxpayers, for us, rather than just saying, I think we need this and putting it in and carte blanche and just letting it go and costing X number of dollars. So I think this was it was a good exercise, and I'm sure we'll learn more from it as we go forward. But thank you very much, Councillor Strakian.
Sorry, just one other follow-up regarding the number of people who called and they said this wasn't a program that was going to work for them, whether it was based on cost or whatever the other circumstances were. Do you have a sense of how many would have participated had it been only 1 bag tag, for example? Do you know how many people were choosing not to because they felt it was too expensive?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, the response were fewer than we had anticipated from the complaint basis of the financial. The concern was from the department when we discussed this back in June was if we put the $2.75, we'd have people registering that were not necessarily diaper, incontinent, menstrual type products. I had anticipated a much higher complaint rate, but I'd also anticipated a much higher participation rate.
Okay, no other questions, Councillor Golding? Thank you, Director Dunlop. So I've got a motion here. Be it resolved that council support the cancellation of the curbside collection diapers, menstrual, and incontinence product pilot program and not pursue the program in the long term. So I need a mover for that. Councillor Barkley. And seconded by Councillor O'Sullivan. All in favor? So carried. Thank you. Okay, so we have Rogers Municipal Access Agreements. Who's, that's you. Councillor, Director Dunlop, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. So the purpose of this report is to cover off agreements for the installation of telecommunications infrastructure within municipal road allowances, process, application fees, and charges. In July 2021, Council adopted the Municipal Broadband Study. During 2021, Rogers Communication entered into negotiations with the municipality to install telecommunications infrastructure, and it is anticipated that there will be further requests from other companies. Council approval is required to enter into municipal access agreements, or MAAs, and the bylaw to be able to assess fees and charges for the review and inspection of the infrastructure. The fees and charges included are to cover off staff time to review the applications and consents, but also the road occupancy permits and road degradation, plus potential future relocation costs. The Telecommunications Act provides the basis for municipal agreements and negotiations. Should a municipality and carrier not be able to come to terms, the CRTC will grant permission and the terms. An MAA is a comprehensive legal agreement granting consent for a communications carrier to enter into the municipality's right-of-way and outlines responsibilities and requirements for both. Entering into an MAA is a standard practice among municipalities. The Rogers MAA will serve as a template for any future agreements, while each model will ensure the needs of the municipality for the specific infrastructures are met for approvals, timing, notice, emergency protocols, engineering submissions, and reporting. The initial term is for a period of 4 years with the option of 2 additional 5-year terms. To further the work of the broadband study, the municipality is working with ISPs to improve the local broadband network. To permit telecommunication companies to enter into the municipality's right-of-ways, it is necessary to enter into the agreement. The MMAs permit the municipality to safely manage its right-of-ways and to ensure coordination with other infrastructure located within the right-of-ways and the municipality's own capital plans. That completes my report.
Thank you, Director Dunlop. Does my council colleagues have any questions? Councillor Barkley?
I note in the report that the fees that we're charging and how we calculate the fees are similar to other municipalities, and that Rogers was made aware of the fees and expressed no concern. That tells me that maybe the fees are a little too comfortable for Rogers. I mean, what was the range? Do we have a range of fees that were charged? And are we in the middle or top end or lower end? Do we have that information?
Wearing my hat as municipal solicitor now. So the fees are more or less standard as among municipalities. It's a reflection of the cost of staff time. I don't think that Rogers not responding to the email setting out what the fees were was unremarkable, given the fact that the fees are in line with others charged by municipalities, including larger municipalities, for example, York Region, who have departments devoted to corridor controls, including municipal access agreements.
And just to follow up, this will serve as a template when we're talking with other large telecom companies and ISPs and stuff?
That's correct, Councillor Barkley, through you, Deputy Mayor McManaman. The CRTC provides a draft municipal access agreement that acts as a template from which municipalities and the various telecommunication companies work from. Diversions from that are made based on each individual municipality's needs, and to the extent that the parties can't agree with respect to those changes, they are then heard by the CRTC, who will make those a ruling with respect to the changes to be incorporated into the draft MAA.
Just an additional question, if I might, Deputy Mayor. So the fees, are they based on like per kilometer, or are they just a set blanket charge?
So the fees are based on staff time in terms of estimates. So the fees and charges have to, bear some correlation with respect to the cost of staff time in order to issue those permits and corridor controls. With respect to pavement degradation, I'll turn that over to Director Dunlop, and she can speak to the costs. The permits are issued based on whether or not it's a major or a minor permit, which depends on the number of properties that the installation or the plant fronts on.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. So yes, we have the major and the minor. We also have a reinspection fee included in the bylaw, but the pavement degradation is based on the cost for the actual installation or replacement necessary of pavement should it be warranted, and it is based on if asphalt is 2 years, 4 years, 7 years, or greater than 7 years old. So there is a sliding scale in regards to the cost per meter for that potential degradation.
Great, thank you. That's all my questions.
Any other questions, council colleagues? No? Okay, thank you, Director Dunlop. Okay, so I have a motion here. Be resolved that council required, number one, to require telecommunications companies wishing to install infrastructure within the public highways under the jurisdiction of the municipality be required to enter into the municipal access agreement. And two, authorize the Director of Public Works to sign future municipal access agreements based on the principles outlined in this report. And number three, approve and enact bylaw 98-21 to amend bylaw 102-15, being a bylaw to adopt schedules of department fees and charges for the municipality of North Granville to include fees and charges related to works performed in accordance to the municipal access agreement. So I'll need a mover for that. Councillor Barkley, seconder. Councillor Sakaryan. All in favor? So carried, thank you. Okay, next I've got no reports from Parks and Rec right now. Number 7, that's the Emergency Protective Services. We're not doing that again? We are doing that, yes? We are here, yes. Okay. So I'm moving on then to correspondence. Do we have any? Consent, right? Okay, so that brings us quickly to other business. There is none. Oh, we're going to put that there? Okay. Okay, let me. Do I have that one? Oh. Okay, so this is for the appointments for the board members for the Kenpo campus. We spoke about this in close, so the so we're going to approve the appointment of Graham Pincott and Annie Hillis. Is it Hillis, right? Correct? As directors to the board of directors of the campus, the Kenpo campus. So I'll need a mover for that. Councillor Barkley, and a seconder, Councillor O'Sullivan. All in favor? So moved. Thank you. Councillor colleagues, any notice of motions? Okay. Okay, so we're shutting down here. moving into okay, and then take it away.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. With respect to bylaw 99-21, at its meeting on June 22nd, 2021, Council approved the expropriation of a permanent easement to provide drainage from the Creek subdivision. The registered owners of the land were delivered notice of the expropriation in accordance with the Expropriation Act and were given the opportunity to request a hearing of necessity to determine if the expropriation was fair, sound, and reasonably necessary. The owners have not requested such a hearing. The next step, in accordance with the council report that was previously delivered to council, is to register the expropriation plan. That's done by way of registration, by way of passage of a bylaw, and so doing vests title of the easement lands in the municipality. After the expropriation plan is registered, an offer of compensation based on a third-party appraisal will be delivered to the registered owners for the interest. So we need a mover and a seconder to pass the bylaw.
Okay, thank you. So we've got a motion here that be it resolved, the council approve and enact a bylaw to acquire an easement required for drainage from the Creek subdivision. So I'll need a mover. Councillor O'Sullivan, second by Councillor Sakian. All in favor? So carried, thank you. Now we come to a point in our meeting, if we have any questions from the public and or media. Do we have anybody here today who would like to speak or ask a question to council? No. Did we receive anything by email or writing?
I confirm that we've received no questions from the media or from the public.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Councillor Shakin, you have a question?
Just prior to closing out this meeting, I just wanted to put out a reminder regarding the participation funding survey that's out for residents to provide their input on. We have $100,000 that we are one as crowned as Canada's most active community, and it'd be great to hear from residents as to where they feel this money would be best spent. The survey does give you the sort of top 6 or 7 options based on previous discussions and informed by other surveys and so on, but I think there's an opportunity to also come up with other ideas in the other category. So I'd invite everybody to weigh in on that and have your say.
Councillor O'Sullivan?
Thanks, and thank you, Kristen, for the that reminder for participation. And just a little hint that it is actually on the website under news and notices. It's not under surveys. So that was a bit of a stumbling block for me. Silly me. I was looking for it under online surveys. But you have to find it under news and notices. But please do participate. Let us know how you'd like the money spent.
Thank you, Councillor O'Sullivan. No announcements, Councillor Barkley?
I thought Councillor O'Sullivan would be pitching for pickleball courts, so I was ready to try and champion access to the river as one of the priorities that people should be paying attention to, but I won't do that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gilmore and I were just speaking before the meeting. He was asking about or talking about the Fall in Love with Maple event we had a couple of weeks ago now, I guess it is. So that was on the weekend down in our Agriforce, which is part of the Kenpo campus. So that was the first annual, and we'll be doing it again in the spring and in the fall of next year as well, if all goes well. The Knights of Columbus stepped up to do the pancake breakfast for the folks, and we served over 500 people for the breakfast over the 2 days. So it's very successful. We did try not to market it too much. We were worried about having an overrun of people. So even though we didn't market it much, we did get a great crowd, and I know the total crowd was probably closer to 700 or 800. Not everybody went for breakfast, but they went for the trails, for the tours, for the demonstration of the evaporator room and how maple syrup is made. Kenpo Live also had their music there, this was all put together. The Knights stepped up for the food. The Karen Bedard of the Kenpo Live took care of organizing most of it with the music and the tents and whatnot. And of course, the Maple Sugar Association was there as well, and they run the forest, and so they have all their maple products. So anyways, very successful event, and we'll be doing it again in the spring, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so we did this under an hour. Okay, so we're going to close this meeting. So be it resolved, the bylaw 100-21 to confirm the proceedings of council, the regular council meeting held October 5th, 2021 be adopted and passed. So I need a mover. Councillor Strakian. Councillor Barclay seconded it. All in favor? Okay, so be it resolved that the regular council meeting adjourn at 7:22 p.m. So I'll need a mover for that. Councillor O'Sullivan and a seconder. Councillor Barclay, all in favor? So carried. That is, thank you very much for coming out and have a great night. Take care.